Greetings, one and all, from the White Mountains of Arizona. It's another beautiful day, even though they're laying down the spray. It was an otherwise beautiful day, but then they decided to chalk up the skies and make some clouds, or try to at least. We can really see it. It's really evident up here because we're not under any flight plans. There's no air traffic. So when one day 13 planes are making a grid in the sky, you can be pretty certain that they're up to no good. They're up to something. Anyway, we don't want to dwell on that because it is a beautiful day otherwise, and we're going to do some channeling. Today we wanted to ask about the GFL, the Galactic Federation of Light. I don't know too much about it. I have my own preconceived notions, of course, from my own meditations. So I have a sense of what they are, but we wanted to get a little deeper into it and see what exactly their role is, who they are, what they want, what they're doing here on Earth. And to do that, I brought a Christy friend. Is this the best lighting? Oh man, so I thought a Colombian Lemurian would be very fitting for this channeling because it's such a high vibration, and in order to match the GFL's vibration, we're gonna have to raise our vibration a little bit. So tuning to this crystal, which emits a frequency which our bodies pick up on and attune to, that should help us a little bit. At least me, since it's on my person, should help me a little bit to keep my ego out of it as much as possible. Trying to ask the questions that are going to bring the most help, the most healing. And Tara's going to do her part by removing her ego and trying to let whatever comes through comes through. We don't know what she's going to connect to. Just whoever can answer our questions the best.
Okay.
You're good to go. You're grounded, connected to something?
Yes.
What are we connected to here?
He's a speaker for the group GFL, but he looks like a fox. And he says his name is Occult.
Occult?
Occult.
Oh, Oko. What vibrational frequency is Oko?
7.
He's the seventh dimension. Is he part of the GFL?
Yes.
Oh, this Mr. Lizard. What is his role in the GFL?
Repair. Tech.
Okay. Why is Oko qualified to answer our questions here today?
The only one of a similar vibrational match.
To us.
To me.
So they gave us a janitor. No offense to Oko, I'm just kidding. Send out the janitor to talk to the human.
No.
Okay, I'm just joking, obviously. Keep this lighthearted. All right. So I guess my first question is, what is the Galactic Federation of Light? Can you explain it in your own words?
Is, in its simplest terms, to keep balance. So, to move along to different places, not necessarily a destination. But as we move along, we pick up on imbalance. And we move to those areas of this universe that is not within balance, a balance of light and a balance of dark, or you would call it negative or positive polarity. So we are rebalance, a duty to.
Are you a conglomeration of entities, like species,
Yes.
of all varying frequencies,
Yes.
different dimensions?
You could call it that. Yes.
And you've all agreed to maintain balance?
Yes. The balance does not look the same. If you were to ask each person here what balance is, you would get several different answers. But all of us working towards balance, with whatever balance means to us, ends up being a unified, beneficial balance for that what we encounter.
So clearly you're operating in some way in the third dimension? Is that correct?
It's a ripple effect.
Okay. So you're operating at the higher dimensions, which affects the dimensions beneath it.
Yes, just like the way the human body works.
Okay. So in a roundabout way, you're manipulating 3D.
Roundabout, yes.
Okay. Is there a leadership to your organization?
Somewhat, but not, let's say, somebody we would bow down to and not question. More like all leaders want to help unify, but all have a voice.
Okay. So it's leadership by committee, essentially, where everyone has a voice?
Yes,
Okay. So is it correct to assume that you have many service to self, what I would consider negative polarity entities within your organization?
yes. If the mission is to achieve balance, you cannot do so with only one polarity.
Okay. What is your goal or purpose here on Earth?
To again maintain the balance so that free will can be expressed in its purest form, but there needs to be a balance in order for there to be a utilization of that free will.
So it's fair to say there's currently an imbalance on Earth.
Correct.
And what has the GFL done to correct this imbalance?
Since we cannot directly interfere with your planet, meaning to visualize in the third dimension, to land and take over, this is called an invasion. And an invasion of privacy, which you guys also have on your planets. But we can be an influence to those who are a vibrational match to us. And remember that we have different vibrations and frequencies among our group. So we would be connecting to various people on your planet who are of different vibrations and frequencies.
And you do this through dreams and meditations?
For the most part, yes.
And what other ways do you communicate with Earth in 3D?
Telepathy does exist in the third dimension, and this is another form of communication. Also, in the form of receiving a 4D transmission, but perceiving it as a 3D transmission.
For instance, you would speak through a radio.
Similar, yes.
Okay. From our perspective, it seems like there's a severe imbalance here in 3D on Earth. Why is the control structure allowed to remain?
The movement of the scales, so to speak, are in full flux. There isn't quite the imbalance that you may perceive. It's the shift in that balance that you are perceiving, and many perceive it as negative or an overabundance of the negative.
I'm not talking about the awakening. I'm talking about the last 2,000 or so years of humanity? Where was your attempt to correct the imbalance there?
There are times in which we cannot be involved in the growth of a quadrant. You need to allow evolution to take its course. And only when there is a certain point of maturity of that particular quadrant may you come and assist if the consciousness of that quadrant asks for such assistance.
It's not enough that a handful of us ask for assistance. We all have to, as a collective.
That's how much of the universe operates. That's how we operate.
So you're saying things are in motion to correct this imbalance.
Correct.
And the negative we perceive, many of us perceive, is just the movement towards the middle.
Yes.
So what do you recommend for humanity moving forward in order to correct this imbalance?
To continue to understand that there is a programming and to work on releasing it, because your free will works in conjunction with our will to help you.
Okay. I mean, something I'm grappling with is how I could feel so strongly that this matrix is illusion, that it's unfair, imbalanced, and I'm just countered by because more people believe that there's nothing wrong. Why isn't my will stronger?
It isn't a more stronger, it's a perception. And so you may perceive yourself to feel less in number or more alone than the darkness that it feels like. But for some, it feels the opposite. The goal is to bring those differing realities together to neutrality.
So, what is ascension then? If one timeline splits off from the other, is that a failure in achieving neutrality?
It's not a failure, it's part of neutrality. And it's the ascension is when balance is achieved. That is ascension.
Well, I mean, we're led to believe that ascension is one group going one way, the other group going the other way. Is this kind of false? False light narrative, maybe?
It's an overlapping of, you speak of just two, one
Sure.
going one way, one the
More.
other, although it's multifaceted, but they're layered within each other. So, as one group would perceive themselves as ascending almost physically into an Eden or a utopia, a paradise, this would be real for them as it would be real for all others ascending on different frequencies and realities. Some would perceive something more negative or something they'd never perceived before. For some, it would be the Summerlands, it would be heaven.
So, is it fair to say that if there's 8 million human consciousnesses, there are 8 or billion, excuse me, then there are going to be 8 billion Earth realities, all
Yes,
different.
but coming together in a balance, all would ascend to the reality of their choice.
But will there be people who are left behind? Or
Not left behind, just in the reality of their choosing.
and the reality won't be ideal
Correct.
because they'll have more lessons to learn in
There are
this.
lessons in all dimensions.
Yes, but in this dimension.
Yes.
So essentially, many realities will remain in 3D to learn more 3D lessons.
Yes, and they would exist among you.
Okay, so we're all going to stay on this physical planet as long as we're in 3D.
Many have opted to physically leave, and they have.
So, in a way, they ascended.
That's a form of ascension, but you don't need to physically die in order to ascend, but many have chosen that route.
Does the ego have to be removed?
To a large degree.
So these people who chose to exit and ascend removed most of their ego?
To varying degrees. Some at a subconscious level, some at a conscious level.
Wouldn't these people stick out in society?
Again, everybody is on a different plane of seeing, perceiving.
But surely, if you remove most of the ego, you could do things that the ego mind would say is impossible.
Those that left were not what you would call ascended masters, which means the ego is in non existence within that person.
Okay.
But to remove the ego enough to ascend in a death sense, many can do.
Oh, but they're not ascending out of 3D. They're not ascending to the fourth realm of
The
consciousness.
physical body would stay, but the soul, as you would call it, would not.
I'm a little confused. Can you explain again in different words?
Those that have chosen to exit this planet, meaning death, using death as a form of exit, were able to understand something at a soul and balanced ego level that allowed them to make that choice either subconsciously or consciously. It does not mean that they removed the ego entirely or it did not exist within the person, as would an ascended master, but just an understanding of such. So the ego lived within them, but there was a activation within the balance between ego and soul that at least gave them enough consciousness to say, I would like to exit now.
Wow. So they had no more to learn in the 3D matrix.
They could come back, but they've chosen to exit at this point.
Okay. We're running out of time. A few more questions. Is there a, I hate to use the R word, but a reptilian soul trap on this planet, recycling souls back into humanity when it's not necessarily on their path to do so?
I wouldn't call it their trap, but there is a trap of sorts, although I wouldn't say it belonged to any one group, but
Okay.
more belonged to a frequency.
All right. It's part of the control mechanism here.
Yes.
And these people who you claim to say have ascended, were they able to exit this trap?
Some yes, some no.
Okay, so just by ascending consciousness doesn't mean you're exiting the earth trap,
Exactly.
which is why it's important to remove the ego completely.
Exactly.
Fascinating. Well, okay. I have a trillion more questions, infinite, but I guess we'll end it there. Is there anything you want to say to humanity before we go?
Just what we said before, to continue to understand that you have a programming and work on removing it or rewiring it, so to speak, as that is my area.
You're a technician,
Yes.
so you can help. If we call upon you, can you help us rewire our egos?
You can call on my department.
Is there a toll-free number, or we'll call collect? It'll be fine. All right, well, we thank you so much for this transmission, and we hope to speak to you again. Thank you and love you.
Hey, hello.
All right.
Ooh, it's warm now.
It's warm now.
Now it's hot.
Well, you're like a lizard. There was a little lizard that scurried. Where'd he go?
Oh,
He's right in there right now.
I'm so happy they're coming back now.
Yeah.
Starting to see little baby lizards and things that's like, where have you been all winter?
Yeah, we
They're
were just
coming
talking
back.
about that. Where do they go?
It's like they just come out from living underground for months.
Yeah, they exit out of existence for 6 months and then just pop up. Well, what'd you think of that channeling?
That was cool. I'm not sure if like the form I saw was actually that entity's form. I think it was showing me in a form that was acceptable to
Well,
me.
he
Like I would
said,
feel comfortable. So it's like, hey, I'm a little fox. I'm like, oh, you're cute.
well, he said seventh dimensional, right? There's
Yeah.
no form.
Yeah.
It's just
So
whatever he wants
it
to
was
be.
just like this human needs to interact with an animal. So
Yeah.
so yeah, that's what I got.
Well, that was cool. I mean, he answered all the questions and helped us understand humanity a little bit better, I guess.
Yeah. I'm starting to forget it now. I'm pretty
Ah,
sure it's all gone now. So I'm gonna have to rewatch this
as you should
because
too
it's
if you
like a
missed
dream.
anything. Check out the playlists because if you missed any, you could just watch that playlist all the way through, right? And
Yeah, and
skip
there are
over the
many
ones you've
people have let
seen.
me know that they've been binge watching everything. They may not agree with everything. I'm not asking everybody to watch this and be like, "Oh, that is the truth,"
Of
but
course not.
definitely have a look, use your own discernment, and have a conversation. We love having all these combos in the comments. So yeah, maybe
On
do
old
some binge
video,
watching.
yeah, on old videos too. Like if you start a discussion in an old video, Tara's definitely gonna
Oh,
respond.
like I just got a few messages of people rewatching our channeling Trump videos since there's all this Trump business in the news and the political sphere. So
There's
that's
always gonna
interesting.
be.
So so I don't know. Maybe you guys wanna have give that a rewatch. I think I should rewatch it too because I don't quite remember what was said again.
Oh, I remember exactly.
Oh, okay.
I could tell you. I'll fill you in. Or we'll binge watch.
Yeah, we'll binge watch our own stuff.
All right, well, say goodbye to the White Mountains, guys. Thank
All
you for
right.
watching. Like, share, subscribe. Gotta do something about those.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.